Hey everybody, in today's lesson we are going to convert vertex form of a quadratic into standard form. So today's lesson is going to take a little bit more time in order to multiply some things out. So it's not as easy as the previous lesson from converting standard form into vertex form. So let's go ahead and let's get started here. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to take this form, this vertex form, the x plus 4 squared minus 5, and convert it into something that looks like this. No parentheses, it's your ax squared plus bx plus c. So what we are going to need to do, well actually first let's go ahead and let's identify the vertex in this equation here. So just remember from last week, your vertex, it can be found by looking at your left and right movement. So for this graph it does go left 4, so your vertex is going to be a -4, and it's going to go down 5 units, so at a -5. So now what we're going to do is we're going to convert this into standard form in order to find the values of a, b, and c. So what we want to do is that x plus 4 quantity squared means that we have 2 of these binomials. We have x plus 4 and x plus 4. That does not mean that we're going to take that exponent of 2 and distribute it throughout the parentheses. That is not what that means at all. It means that we have 2 of these binomials, and of course we have that -5 at the end that we'll save for later. So there's 2 ways that you can multiply out these parentheses, because we do need to be using some order of operations in order to get to our standard form. You can go ahead and you can distribute, or some of y'all might be familiar with the box method. For my notes for today, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the distributive property. So what that means is I'm going to take the x that's in the first parentheses here, and I'm going to multiply it to the x inside the first parentheses there. And I'm also going to take the x and multiply it to the 4. So x times x will result in x to the power of 2. X times 4 will result in 4x. So I'm going to do the same thing for the second term inside the parentheses, which is the 4. And I'm going to multiply 4 times x, and I'm going to multiply 4 times 4 together. So 4 times x is another 4x. And 4 times 4 is 16. And of course we have the -5 on the end. So now at this point we've removed all of our parentheses by using the distributive property, and now we are going to combine the like terms. Okay, so like terms would be 4x and 4x. We can combine those together. And we also have these numbers at the end, the 16 and the -5, that we can combine together as well. So we have x squared, and 4x plus 4x is going to give us an 8x, and 16 minus 5 is going to give us an 11. And there we have it. No more parentheses, everything has been combined. There's our standard form. So we're going to write the equation y equals x squared plus 8x plus 11. And so the value of a is going to be the coefficient on the x squared, which is a 1. The value of b is going to be the coefficient that's on the x, which is the 8, and your value of c is your 11. And again, we know that value of c is also our y-intercept. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the example. Now, if you have the notes printed off from the previous day in class, I actually changed some things up, so please pay attention to that. So notice you still have the negative sign on the outside, but I changed what was inside parentheses because I wanted to give you guys more variety other than x plus 4. So I have changed this to now say x minus 2 squared minus 6. So let's go through this example, and how do we multiply this one out? Well, first of all, we're going to start with your vertex, and the vertex is going to be at a +2 and a -6. Okay, so let's talk about how we need to multiply this out. So we have y equals, and we have this negative sign in front, so let's just leave it there for a couple of steps. What we need to focus on first is multiplying out the x minus 2 with another x minus 2, because that's what it means to be x minus 2 squared, and then minus 6. So I'm just going to focus on what's happening inside these brackets right here. Again, I'm going to use the distributive property, and we are going to distribute x times x and x times negative 2. So x times x is going to give us an x squared. X times negative 2 is negative 2x. Now I'm going to go ahead and distribute the negative 2, so that's negative 2 times x and negative 2 times negative 2. So negative 2 times x is another negative 2x, and negative 2 times negative 2 turns back into a positive 4. Again, the negative sign is still in front and the minus 6 is still in the back. So we can do a couple of things here. We can combine the like terms inside the brackets first, or we can go ahead and distribute the negative sign. I think I want to combine the like terms inside first. Okay, so we still have the negative sign. I'm going to change this to parentheses with x squared minus 4x plus 4, and then of course the minus 6. Okay, so at this point, what we're going to do is now we are going to distribute that negative 1 throughout the parentheses. So all this is going to do is it's going to change signs within the parentheses. So negative 1 times a positive x squared, a negative 1 times a negative 4x, and a negative 1 times a positive 4. Do not distribute it to the minus 6 at the very end. That does not change signs. So here we have negative x squared. This negative 4x becomes positive. So like I said, all you're doing is changing the signs. And so now we have one more step, and that's to combine the last two like terms of negative 4 and a minus 6. So here we have our standard form. Y equals our negative x squared plus 4x, and that becomes a minus 10. And there is your equation written in standard form. And if you recall what we had talked about in the previous lesson, notice that your a values are exactly the same. So my a value that is in standard form is a negative 1, which is the same as the a value in vertex form. So this is a negative 1. Your b value is the coefficient on the x, which is a 4, and your c value is a negative 10. Okay, so if you do have any questions over this lesson, please make sure that you are in contact with your teacher, and have a wonderful day.